Tell us briefly your vision for Tauranga City for the next 6 years.
Over the next 6 years, I'd really like to see the culture of change in the council to be more around enabling and working together with community. So I'd like to see a more positive and forward-thinking, future-focused council. I'm also very interested in seeing that there's more environmental solutions woven into the decision making, and I'd really like to see us have a very good, clear transport plan for the next 30 years that's been put into place, that everyone understands and that we all know that we're heading towards, and that we have good government funding for.
What 2 or 3 issues do you hope to take up in council?
My big area is transport. I started really becoming very interested in transport about 5 years ago, and it started with cycling, and as soon as I started looking at what was happening in cycling, I realised that you can't look at cycling without looking at pedestrians, and then you can't look at pedestrians without looking at public transport. So I ended up going back and doing a postgrad in sustainable practice and looked at multimodal transport, and so that's the piece that I'm interested in bringing is how can we design our transport system to be much smarter and so that it serves the purpose of so many people in our community.
Tell us briefly your qualifications and experience in governance type roles.
I came out of university and I had a business very early on with up to 24 staff. So I've had a lot of staff relationships. I sort of understand the relationship between staff and management. As far as governance goes, I'm currently on 2 boards. After I had my first business, I organised festivals for a lot of years, music and dance festivals. There's 2 big festivals that I'm still on the board of trustees for. Those are all involved, they're all not profit-making organisations. They rely on funding and they rely on good relationships with various councils that the festivals participate in. So I sit on those boards currently, and I'm also on a committee for a very small garden program that runs through 6 schools locally. So very small to bigger, but I haven't had the experience of being on a board the size of a council.
What are the key values that you live by and will bring to the council table?
I'm very family oriented, I'm very future focused. My values are around protecting our place and our land now for our kids in the future. It's very close to my heart. I have a lot of integrity. I believe that we treat others how we want to be treated, and that to be open and honest and to be realistic, and also just to name when you don't understand something and dig deeper to find out solutions, rather than just trying to pretend that we have the knowledge for things that there's all the answers for out there.
Tell us what experience you have in reading and analysing complex and large reports and financial accounts.
I've had to do a lot of that in the last few years as a transport advocate, because I started an organisation together with a few other transport advocates here called Greater Tauranga, and we've put lots of submissions to council, and in doing that we had to really find out what the government GPS was, what the current council plans are, what was happening in the space of cycling and in all of the other areas. So there's a lot of reading to do around all of that, but also I think what I'd really like to see is better presentation of the current reports that we have. I don't think that in governance we should be reading 500-page reports, so I'd like to see a better process around how information is delivered to the governance team.
What's your experience in debating complex issues?
I've certainly, from the outside of the table, been debating I've been debating those different aspects. I mean, of transport for a few years now. I'm very confident. I've always been a self-starter. I was on the student council right from when I was a kid, so I'm very comfortable with all manner of people at the table. I've just been at the table recently with NZTA, with members of Parliament, with our heads of the council here to try to get a resolution around the interchange, and I sit comfortably in those situations.
What sort of experience do you have in dealing with CEOs from a board member perspective?
To be honest, I don't have a lot of experience with an organisation this large, but I'm a fast learner, and I think there's processes that need to be really clearly understood, and there's clear lines of communication that need to be understood between how to relate to the CEO compared to how to relate to the staff compared to governance. So it's just me really getting up to speed with how that operates and best practice.
Do you have anything you'd like to add?
I'm super passionate about making sure that in this next council we have diversity of voice and life experience and different things to bring to the table. So I think what I bring to the table is a lot of knowledge around environmental issues and around transport issues. I don't expect to be a expert in everything, but I'm a very good listener, and I really like to see people around the table and to rely on staff and to rely on the community to learn what we need to learn about making decisions in other areas.